why they are condemning it. If it is approved by the government and it becomes a medium of exchange that is approved, so and the prices are not dropping like that in such a way that makes you look as if you are gambling, then the scholars don't speak against it. They are not speaking against it because it is digital, no, but because of those things that you have mentioned. What I would like you to know is that there is nothing we talk about in the Sharia that you will see somebody that will say it is halal. Hardly will you find something that you will see somebody that will say what is halal. What I'm saying here is what most scholars in the field of this Islamic finance are upon. Even those who will be lenient. I don't want to mention names. So when you ask them, this is what some of them have said. Some have said they have our proof. That is, they don't want to say it is halal and they don't want to say it is haram. But these things gives us concern. That is these observations. Obviously they have our proof. But a lot of them said it's more or less what? Gambling. And some say what? It is permissible. But we don't look at it. Some scholars have said it's permissible, some scholars have said it's what is haram. So anyone you take, any issue you pick up, you see what some scholars say it is permissible. Take for instance, can I this riba we are talking about now, the riba of you borrowing from the bank in order to boost your business with interest, is it permissible? We have scholars who say it is permissible. We have scholars who say it is permissible and they wrote on it, they defended it. So many things you see scholars saying it is permissible. Some of them not real scholars, some of them they are good scholars who have made a mistake on that matter. So yours is to get the principle and what you try to implement. You don't use the error of the scholar as your team. So hardly will you find something that you see somebody that is saying what the opposite of what others are saying. So Allah.
So I'd like to apologize. There is no way, we are inundated with questions here. There is no way we will take everybody's question. We'll try and take a few more. And if by chance at the end of the lecture or something, during the course of the program, there is another time or more time to take more questions, then we'll do that. But for now, a lot of the questions will not be taken. For a question that we keep getting recurrently here is POS business halal? I think we've gotten about 4 or 5 people asking the same question. So we'd like to please have you talk with that. Is that right?
Now the issue of POS, the scholars they differ concerning the ruling. They differ concerning.
Oh, so sorry for what you said. There is a car that is blocking the road. FKJ 404 EG. Please, if this is your car and you are parked, please move it. Help us move it. The people want to go out, please. So FKJ 404 EG.
Concerning the issue of POS, that is point of sale, the scholars are different concerning the ruling. Why? This is because if I go to the person operating the POS machine, for instance, and I give the person my ATM card, I want him to give me, or I want her to give me, let's say 10,000 naira, and she will take 10,000 naira plus from my account through the ATM. That transaction that transpires between me and her, what is the name we are going to give it? What will we call that transaction? I give somebody my ATM card to collect 10,000 plus from the account, and he gives me 10,000 naira cash. What are we going to call that type of deal? that financial thing between me and that person. What are we going to call it? I want somebody to contribute. Huh? Okay, I go to somebody, I mentioned earlier, I give somebody 10,000 naira 30 notes, and the person gives me in return 9,800 naira new notes. What type of transaction is that? Huh? This is called what I saw. We are exchanging. I'm exchanging these 30 notes for the newer notes. You get it? So they call it al-musarafa. That is what transpires. So if I give him this, he gives me the cash. I transfer back to him. It's equivalent from my own account by using the POS machine. What is that? Is that exchange or not? It's exchange. Now, what we have learned when we are talking about riba euro and we talk about what riba and fat, that when we are changing the same currency, there must be no addition. Now there is addition, for instance, of 200 naira. So some say the 200 naira is for the machine. That is called what? The service charge. To be honest, is that 200 naira going for the machine, or is also going, part of it is going to my pocket? Part of it is going to my pocket. So that means I've taken more than I've given. And it is the same currencies. So this is where some scholars in this field, this is the way some scholars in this field have looked at it. They say it is what al-musarafa. So it is exchange with addition. And we know that exchange with addition is what? Is riba. But if there is no addition, for instance, then it is not riba. Or the addition is meant solely for the machine, not the person that has given the cash that is going to benefit it. It is a third party that is going to benefit, that has nothing to do with the one who has dropped the cash. Take for instance, let's go to loan. I come to you and say, please loan me 10,000 naira. And you say, I don't have cash to pay you. I will have to go to the bank to withdraw the money. And I will take Okada, for instance, to go to the bank. When I will withdraw it, maybe there's going to be what? Some charges on it. Who is going to bear the Okada cost? Who is going to bear the charges the bank added? Am I going to bear it, the lender? Or you, the borrower, is going to bear it? Do you get it? So if the borrower bears it, there is no harm, because I'm not benefiting anything from that. Interest. Are you with me? So this will be what we saw with interest, exchange with interest. If the money added is not just for the machine, that they will pay the owner of the machine. So if I put down the cash, it's also going to benefit. So this is the way some scholars look at it. Why, on the other hand, some scholars look at it from the angle that it is not musarafa. It is something of wakala, that is agency. That is, I go to him, I say, go assist me in what? In collecting this amount from so and so bank. Then he withdraws it to his own account. Get it now? He withdraws to his own what account? From my own account to his own account. Which means the money is now with him. Now whether the money is in his own account or is the cash with him, which is his own money, Whichever one he gives me is what? So he gives me the cash with him now. He gives me the cash with him. Because he has withdrawn the money from my own account to his account. Then the cash that is with him, he gives it to me. Can he charge me for that? So they say, yes, you can charge him. Because he has assisted you in what? In getting that money. So when he got the money, then he gave the money to me. So this is what is for that. The recent fatwa of Al-Lajnah Bidari in Saudiya addresses this, supports this. But some other scholars in this field as well, so they are of the opinion that no, it is musarafa. So they are looking at it from different angles. Some are looking at it from the angle of agency, while some are looking at it from the angle of exchange. So that's why you see some people say what you can't do it, some will say you can do it. But wallahu alam, I'm not convinced with those who say you can't do it, but not rigid on the position, because those who have looked at it from the angle of wakala, they also watch, they have their argument to not that convincing. Wallahu alam.
It's been enlightening to see both perspectives. So we have just about 3 or 4 minutes to take questions by our Sheikh. So I'd like to read this one that says, or I'd like to lump 3 questions together and I would maybe spend 1 minute on each. He said, I am a businessman of nylon. How will the company grow? And how will the company grow if we are not allowed to take loans? And are there any banks or individuals that can lend money or that can invest in the business that you can recommend? And the second one is, you said it's good to show respect to our debtors. How about school owners? Does it mean we are committing sins when we send good bills that are owing back home? And then finally it says, my friend did a training with his sister, and his sister said they should not share the training content with anyone. And then I feel this is wrong, so So for you have paid for the service, how you use it doesn't concern the training, especially when you're not using her trademark. What is the Sharia ruling on this? So on the issue of the nylon, the school owner and the training system.
Now, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Now let me start with the question number 3. Now if a trainer has shared it with you, so why is he or she preventing you from sharing it with another person despite the fact that you have paid for it? So you have paid for it. So he or she also learned it from somewhere, maybe she paid for that too. So when she decided to teach you and you pay, why is she preventing you from teaching other people so that you can get paid too? Particular to her, that's a different thing. And that's a different thing. So the first question, I think I've spoken about this before. The conventional banks that we have today, where do they get their money? Do you get the question? The conventional banks that we have today, where do they get their money? From the people. So if you decide that you want to come together, assist one another, you with business idea, you are not stingy, you are ready to share profit with people, and you that are ready to also put your money in a business, you are also not looking for big profits and guaranteed profits, then you can work together. Sheikh Al-Albani alayhi rahmatullah will say that if you come together, you won't need the bank. Most of us that go to the bank, I need loan. It is the money that I've kept in the bank that they will loan you. The one this person has kept is what they will loan you. The one this person has kept, they will loan you. Put them together and they loan you with what? With interest. But if I can speak with you, and you know that I'm sincere, I'm somebody that is straightforward, I'm not dubious, you will prefer to give me your money, and both of us will enter into a partnership, and the profit that you get at the end of the day will be more than what the bank is going to give you. But we are the Muslims who will do this. So the problem is not Islam. The problem is the Muslims. We are not following the teachings of the deen. So we are dubious, we are stingy, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has assisted. Now the school owner giving respite to the parents. One, the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala assist us. The parents, a lot of them, they don't need to pay the school fees of their children. And this is well pronounced when it comes to the issue of madrasa. The school owners, I mean the Western education school owners, so to say, they are still enjoying in comparison to those who own madrasa. You may see somebody that is paying 50,000 naira a term for the school fee of a pupil. But that person finds it difficult to drop 500 naira on a monthly basis on behalf of his son or so in the madrasa. So I'm trying to say is that the lackadaisical attitude of a lot of parents may be responsible for this. Not that you don't have. Not that you don't have. I was speaking with some people some days back. The madrasa that we are operating, you see, when a child is coming here in the evening, the parents, they will buy biscuits for them. Now, when you calculate these biscuits on a monthly basis, it's a big amount. But the same parent fails to pay 2,000 naira a month. But these biscuits, they won't miss it when the children are going to the madrasa. Now, if the children get to the madrasa and the teacher that are teaching them, they are not paid. I'm not saying well paid, because how much are they collecting? But this little that they are collecting, these parents will not pay it. So it means that to bring one kind of illustrative another to Ilamisara with the issue of a lot of the parents when it's come to paying the school fees, may not really work. Some of them they have, let me say a lot of them they have, but they are priority differs to be considered. Unless if considering the person is also going to watch, going to pay conclude seriously. Like the teachers that you have employed now, and you won't tell them that these parents are here to pay, so they will not be able to, and they watch, they don't have alternative. So this may be something with triple effect. So wallahu
Jazakumullah khairan. We've come to the end of the session with our Sheikh Abdul Ghani Dua. I'd like to ask and beg and also demand that the sisters at the back please go back to the second lecture by our Ustad Ibn Abdullah As-Sudaisi, where he will be talking about running a business legally according to the law of the land, the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, without transgressing the bounds of Allah.
Alhamdulillah. Once again, I welcome each and every one of us to this program. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward the organizers, and may He reward each and every one of us abundantly. What I've been asked to come here to do is to discuss the legal perspective of doing business in Nigeria. And as much as possible, I'll try to be elementary in my presentation. But if we have lawyers here, I believe they will be able to get the gist of the discussion better. And I hope and believe that at the end of this discussion, we will leave here understanding some aspects of our law in Nigeria in a way that will benefit us in whatever business that we are engaging in. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to guide us aright. The first point I want to discuss, without wasting much of our time, is the sources of Nigerian legal system. In Nigeria, we have several laws governing many activities, including business. So when we are talking about the Nigerian legal system, it has its sources. The first source of Nigerian legal system that I will mention is the Sharia. Sharia is a source of law in Nigeria. I know many people don't know this. The reason why Sharia is a source of law in Nigeria is the fact that it is the law that is predominant in the northern part of the country. So even before the coming of the colonialists, the Sharia has been well established in the northern Nigeria. And when the scholars discuss the concept of customary law, they refer to the Sharia as the customary law of the people of the northern Nigeria, because the predominant population of the people of the northern Nigeria is Muslim. Most of them are Muslim. In fact, if you are going to find those who are not Muslims in the northern Nigeria, they are just few in their numbers. So the jihad of Sheikh Usman Danfodio and several other Islamic activities made Sharia a form of law that is predominant in the northern Nigeria. Then we have customary law. Several other communities in Nigeria, they have laws that are customary to them. That is the law governing their activities, even before the colonialists. So in Yoruba land, they have their own customary laws. In the Igbo land, they have their own customary laws. And in several other parts of Nigeria, they have their customary laws. Nigeria is a very complex country in the sense that we have more than 250 languages and ethnic groups in Nigeria. And we have to come together to do things together. And that is why when the colonialists came to Nigeria, they came with their own law in order to unify the diverse groups in Nigeria. So they came up with what we call the English law, that consists of common law and statutes of general application. So this common law, by virtue of colonialism, is also a source of law in Nigeria. Now we have mentioned three. We have mentioned the Sharia, we have mentioned the customary law, and we have mentioned the English common law. But the English common law gained ground more than several other laws in the country. But despite that, the Muslims in Nigeria, we are not going to fold our arms. We are going to continue to try our best to make sure that we apply the Sharia to the best of our abilities. The colonialists, when they came, they did not just come to us like that. They came to change our religion, and they came to eradicate the Sharia. It is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has assisted us to this extent. And that is why when the talk was in town regarding the establishment of Islamic banks, you saw the kind of controversy that greeted this country. But alhamdulillah, they had no choice than to embrace the Sharia banking system, because this is a banking system that is now well known all over the world. And no country of the world fails to have a Sharia system that is dealing with their financial system. Apart from the common law, customary law, and Islamic law, we also have what we call the statutes. There are various enactments in the country regarding how we can do business in Nigeria. One of them is Company and Allied Matters Act, the CAMA, that establishes the Corporate Affairs Commission. There is no way you'll be doing business in Nigeria without knowing the Corporate Affairs Commission. The law governing the activities of the Corporate Affairs Commission is the Company and Allied Matters Act. So there are various statutes. When we say statutes, what we mean by this is laws made by the state. The laws made by the state are known as laws. The laws made by the National Assembly, that is the federal government arm, are known as acts. All of these laws, they are in their multiples. They are for the governance of business in Nigeria. Then during the military era, we have decrees at the federal level, and we have edicts at state levels. In the local government, you have bylaws. Then one of the sources of the Nigerian legal system is also the case law. That is, when you take matters to court, at the end of the day, the judgment given by the court is also a law in Nigeria. And that is why, by the principle of what we call judicial precedent,
tort is what we call civil wrong, the harm you have inflicted on another person in the society, and that person has the right to sue you for it. But before a person can sue for a tortious act, it must be that the person that committed the tortious act has duty of care. You know, when you have a contract between another person, you owe that person duty of care. You want to sell a cream to somebody, you owe him duty of care. You owe her duty of care that cream is very good and it will not cause harm upon him or her. Once that cream leads to one harm or the other upon that person has the right to sue you. I'm sending this message to those of us who are into productions. We have to be very careful. Our ingredients, must make sure that we are very careful about them. The way you mix them. Now, if you are expected to mix 20% and you went ahead and mixed 50%, you know there is going to be a problem. These chemicals, they have a way of reacting to those who use them. So this falls under thought, and that is why I'm going to spend more time here. Because let us first differentiate tortious act from crime. Some people mix them together. A tortious act is the harm we inflict on each other. But in the case of crime, it is an offense against the state. That is the major difference between the two. So there is a particular case, a very old case for that matter. The case was decided in 1914. It is Smith versus Selwyn. In that case, it was said that if the person commits a tortious act, and at the same time that act constitutes a crime, the criminal matter supersedes the civil matter. But later it was said that that principle in that particular case is archaic. In the case of Dictatorial versus Umar, it was said that if somebody commits a tortious act and a criminal act together, the two cases can be going on simultaneously. But today in Nigeria, we have problem, and the problem is the problem of money. Even if someone wrongs you now and you suffer serious damage, you think twice before you go to court, because the cost of funding cases in court today is just too much, and the court will even waste your time. It is not the court that is even wasting your time, it's because of the congestion in the court. There are too many cases in court. You see a situation whereby a case that is started in 2007 will not end, has not ended up to now. To take 30 years, 35 years to finish some cases, and you continue to spend. So at the end of the day, and people say, move for long law. Instead of going to court, they move for long law. So what we are saying is that as Muslims, when we are doing business, let us be very careful of what we do to people. Even if those people don't have money to sue us, let us know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there to take care of the situation. So when we go to court, what do we get? Even if at the end of the day we are going to get something, we get monetary compensation. So somebody who goes to court regarding a tortious act based on a business that he or she has transacted with another person, he gets monetary compensation. Then injunction, in some other cases, that person who inflicted the injury may be giving a warning not to do it again, or to even stop the business. So that is why you have to be very careful. Your business can be stopped if it involves injuring another person's rights. Then there is part of negligence. Because of negligence in business these days, a lot of people lose a lot of money. So we should be very careful of the thoughts of negligence. Then there is a concept known as res ipsa loquitur. When you get to court and you are dragging a matter with another business partner, one of the principles that influences court judgment is to look at the matter itself. The face value of the matter, if whether a reasonable person will see that an harm has been caused to the defendant. So this is what determines the judgment of the court in most cases. Then let us be very careful about the thought of nuisance. When you are mixing those products that you are mixing, be very careful of pouring them just anywhere, because they can mix with some people's water and it will harm them. Some of these people can take you to court. If you are so rich in your business, at the end of the day, if care is not taken, you are going to use the money, the profit that you have earned to prosecute that matter. And that is why you have to be very careful. Then be careful of defamation. You can be guilty of defamation in the way you advertise your business. One of the most belittled aspects of the law these days is defamation. People find it easy to defame each other, and it's because everybody is getting away with it. So let's be careful of defamation. Then there is this principle of strict liability. If you have some of the things that you have that you are using for your business. For instance, some people, because thieves are disturbing them in their industry, they buy dogs to protect their poultry or something. You have to be very careful. If that dog bites somebody, you'll be in trouble. And this is what we call strict liability under the case of Ryland and Fletcher. This principle established in Ryland and Fletcher is very serious, and many people are not taking it serious. Yes, it is not you that caused harm to that person directly, but an animal in your custody is the cause of that damage. There's another area that we need to take very seriously when we are doing business in this country, and that is the area of intellectual property. That is my own area. I'm into intellectual property, especially the copyright aspect. I was happy when a question was asked the other time about a sister teaching some sisters a sister took some other sisters training regarding a particular business or product. Yes, that note, the exact note that the trainer used in training them belongs to her. You cannot bring out the exact note and begin to teach, use it, and begin to use it to teach people. No, you cannot, except by her permission. You can form your own notes based on what she had taught you. Do you get it? You can even write a book based on what she had taught you. You can use different examples, including the examples that she gave you during the class. So this aspect has to do with copyright. So do not try to be very careful, especially we have book writers here. Whenever you are writing your books, make sure that you are careful about the concept of plagiarism. These days, many people are guilty of plagiarism, and it's because of our education system. These days, we find out that the undergraduates, an undergraduate here in Lagos can go as far as Kano. You will just go into one library there and pick an old project. The only difference between that project and his own input is just the name. So this is not good. If you breach someone else's copyright, they can sue you. And when they sue you, it will not only cause you serious embarrassment, it can be a true way to the prison. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us aright. So let us know that copyright has many areas. Many people think that copyright is just about writing books. That aspect of writing books is just literature. As a writer too, being very careful about this concept of plagiarism that we're talking about. Because when your book is outside there and you are later found to be guilty of plagiarism, you can be prosecuted anywhere. Those people, they have money. They can take you to anywhere. So we have other areas of copyright like artistic work. Some of these areas are not Islamic. When you talk about artistic work, you should know that under Islamic law, you are not permitted to draw things that are animate. And this is the opinion of most of the scholars of Islam, that drawing or taking or engaging in photography is against the principles of the Sharia. But you can do some other aspect of art, like painting things that are not animate. You see some women, they can paint very well. Some of these paintings can earn you millions if you protect them. And how do you protect them? When you do something under artistic work, or maybe it is broadcasting, there's another area that is known as cinematography. Yes, many of these aspects are not Islamic. You know, we are not encouraged to watch movies or to even become actors and actresses. But what we are saying here is that whatever you are doing under copyright, make sure that it conforms with the principles of the Sharia, and make sure you protect them. You protect them. Okay, the first principle you need to understand is that when you create that work, it is already protected. This is what we call original protection. But you can even give it further value when you register the work with the Nigerian Copyright Commission. So we'll be expecting you to register your work with Nigerian Copyright Commission. Then there is another area that is known as patents. This has to do with technology, science and technology. Those of you who have graduated from courses related to science, what have you been doing? And this is why the country is suffering. We are not creating anything. So you finish school, instead of you to practice what you learned in school, begin to create things for this country. You are lazy. And that is why Baba said then that Nigerian youth are lazy. I know that we are beginning to come up. We pray Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make things easy for us. Then there is trademarks. When you make a mark for your trade, try to register it. There is a section in the Federal Ministry of Commerce and Industry where you can register your trademarks, your logos. Don't belittle them. The logo that you are using, somebody can copy it and begin to use it. When you don't register it, there is problem. Then we have industrial design, we have traditional knowledge and traditional cultural expression. Some of these things can bring us wealth in this country. And that is why we are telling Nigerians that we need to diversify the economy of this country. We have to move from oil-based economy to knowledge-based economy. And this is what several agencies of the government in Nigeria today are doing. For example, NITDA, NIPC, Nigerian Investment Promotion. So there are just too many. They are promoting creativity in Nigeria so that we can stop depending upon oil. Because very soon, like we have been hearing, the oil can dry off and you will not be able to fall back on anything except the knowledge-based economy. Then in operating your business, try and be mindful of the rights of people. The people you are dealing with, they have fundamental human rights under the Constitution. That is chapter 4 of the Constitution. So we are mentioning all of these things. So as Muslims, the ones that you feel that is against the provision of the Sharia, you may not follow them. But all of these things that I've been saying, how many of them are against the provisions of the Sharia? That's very few. The aspects that are against the provision of the Sharia, I've mentioned them. Now, even under the Sharia, we have right to life. You don't have the right to harm anybody. You don't have the right to take people's life. When you prepare products that can take people's life, you are not a good person. You are not a good Muslim. If at the end of the day, your product is part of what takes the life of that person, even if the family of those persons have no money to sue you on the surface of the earth, know that you are going to pay for it in the hereafter. then you should respect the dignity of people. As employers of labor, treat your employees, treat them with honor. Then there is right to personal liberty. Another right that I need to also mention here is right to freedom of association. Those of you that are doing business, you have different associations calling you to come and join them. You have freedom to either join them or not to join them. They are just voluntary organizations. They are non-governmental organizations. It is not compulsory for you to join an organization. If an organization is putting pressure on you and you know joining them will bring hardship upon you, or you can even pull out of any association that you feel is not representing your interest. So there is freedom of association under the Sharia. You are not to be forced to join any organization that you don't want to join. Let me stop here. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك.
I'm really sorry, we really wish that we have a lot more time to spare. Because my personal maxim when it comes to law and the letters of the law is try as much as possible to understand the fundamentals. But when it comes to the law, those are the lawyers. They know what to do. So please, when you are going into any contract, don't think you understand the letters. They might be tricky and be used against you. So always have your lawyers review whatever it is you're trying to do, especially if it is an agreement. Now, before we move on to question and answer, I would like to say again, if you have any questions for the lecturer, please write it out so we can take them. We have given you pens, please try and get creative with the papers. We bought this wristwatch from the masjid. Someone misplaced. And earlier I had announced that someone misplaced a sum of money. So please check your pockets. If you have any money missing, please reach out to Brother Abdul Salam. He should be at the reception there. He's here now. And we have in our midst Ustaz Kabir Al-Aswad, one of our panelists. So we'll move on to the second question that says, please, apart from Sharia law, which of the state's laws go against joining a trade association forcefully? So apart from the Sharia law, which of the state's laws go against joining a trade association forcefully? And then I'll also add to that, with regards to freedom of association, some associations like Ebele or those other so all those associations would say before you even can open a shop, you need a valid certificate from one of them and also be registered members of that association. So if they close down your shop and you resort to law.
The position I expressed during the presentation is the position of English law based on the provision of Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. There is a right known as right to freedom of association, which means that you may choose to associate with a person or group of persons, and you may choose not to associate with them. So I'm not talking about the Sharia, and I believe under the Sharia too there is this particular right too, except that in the Sharia you have to associate compulsively with a group that is upon the truth. How we get it now? And when we are talking about the group upon the truth, as we have all known, are the group that are practicing Islam according to the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. No law of the Sharia says that you must associate with a person or group of persons that are carrying out a particular business. Even under the Sharia, you have the right to associate with them or pull out after associating with them. And this is the position of the Nigerian law too. But as regards a situation whereby they are forcing you to join that association, they cannot force you because this is a fundamental right. And whatever that is in the constitution supersedes any other position that people are bringing up. The only thing they can do is not to allow you to benefit from the benefits they share within themselves. For instance, let's use the case of ASU as an example. You know, ASU is a very popular non-governmental organization that has lecturers of universities, of federal universities, as even state universities are also joining now. But if you choose not to join ASU, it means that you are not fighting the cause with them. So at the end of the day, when they get the benefit that they are looking for, you may not be able to share from it. So the same way, if you are the association of cloth sellers, you will not benefit from the money that a politician gives to them. When they go to greet a politician now, they give them money. You have no right to ask from that money. So you will not benefit from the benefit that they are able to get. But to say that they will force you to join that association or to continue to deal with them, it does not hold ground under any law, be it the Sharia or common law. Thank you very much.
We have 2 more to go, and I'd like to please, maybe in 5 minutes, I'll read both questions so you think them at once. So please, the car with registration with number BDG 761EY, the Honda Pilot, is blocking the road. Please, if it is yours, kindly help move it. BDG 761EY, Honda Pilot. I'd also like to announce that this watch was misplaced in the masjid. If it is yours, please meet Brother Salam to claim it. Similarly, a sum of money was found. Please, if it is yours, also meet Brother Salam to claim it. So now to the last 2 questions before we move to the panel session. The questioner says, is there a limitation or limitations to the kind of businesses or vocation civil servants can engage in with respect to the law of the land? And finally, it says, what does agreement mean during a rent contract? I.e., house rent and shop rent, and is it permissible in Islam?
Now, on the first question.
The first question is about civil servants.
Okay, on whether a civil servant can engage in some other business. I heard the former president of Nigeria recently saying that a civil servant, there's no law in Nigeria prohibiting a civil servant from carrying out business in Nigeria while still in the civil service. But the true position of the law is that a civil servant is not expected to engage in any other business apart from his salaried employment. The exception to this general rule is agriculture. He can farm. But don't talk about my own business. I'm into footwear making. And when you look at this footwear making, it's a branch under the intellectual property. So that is my own defense. I know the person that asked the question will likely be talking to me. Thank you. Then the second concerning agreements on rent, it's very important. In fact, these days, the way landlords and tenants engage in major rifts that could even lead to taking of life makes having agreement on a lease agreement makes it very, very important. So whenever you as a landlord prepares to give your property out to a tenant, or you as a tenant prepares to park into another person's house, make sure that you get a lawyer to draft an agreement between you and that person. And in that agreement, make sure you stipulate your terms and conditions. It's very important. You know, while I was talking about terms and conditions, I spent some time there, because this is where most people get it wrong. So in your business, you may be required to have a place of business, a registered place of business. You may not have money to build one for yourself. You may have to rent it. So when you are renting it, make sure that you are renting that apartment or you are renting that shop in the name of your company. That is one. To avoid embarrassment. Because that embarrassment that can be meted against you they will not be able to do that to an artificial person. So at the end of the day, the matter can go to court, and at the end of the day, it will be against the artificial person, not your own personal self. So rent agreement or lease agreement is very important. You can do it. It is not against the provision of the law of Nigeria, but I don't know the position under the Sharia, whether it is allowed or not. We have our scholars here to answer that aspect. Wallahu alam. Where is the MC?
We've come to the end of the proper presentation of proper lecture. Now we will move to the panel session. However, before we move on to the panel session, I'd like to say Jazakumullah khairan for everyone that is here, to our host Nasaruddin and Adrian, and also to Yalla, to MRN, we equally say Jazakumullah khairan, and then to our vendors and our sponsors, Coke Impex, Castro Honey, and every other person on the banner, we say Jazakumullah khairan. And before we start, I'd like to talk a bit about Hiba Consulting Limited, which is the consulting firm run by the chief organizer of this event, Mr. Charles Alonanio. And before I go there, I would like to say to all the brothers and sisters that have supported this event, you are not left out, and Allah sees you and Allah will appreciate you on our behalf. Jazakumullah khairan. So Hiba Consulting is a digital marketing, email and SMS business where if you have any business or consulting needs, especially if you are running if you have any strategy or any marketing needs for your business, please do reach out to Hiba Consulting. You can reach out to Sister Kauthar. She'll be more than willing to have a session with you to firm up a strategy for your business, to take your business from this level to all the way to the moon. And we will begin the panel session now. For our panelists, we have three of our honorable brothers here. We have Brother Gabriel Asman, we have Brother Khalid Koiki, and Brother Ibrahim Muloye. Each one of them will be taking different topics and having different conversation with us. And I would like to implore them. We know you have come loaded with a lot of knowledge to unload on us. However, time would unfortunately not permit us to take everything that you have prepared for us, or at least we would like to appeal to you to please help us squeeze your presentations into 15 minutes each. And after the 45 minutes of conversation or your presentation, then have an open question and answer section. If you have any questions, then please start writing it down while they are making the presentation, so we don't waste time when the time of Q&A comes. So I would like to begin in no particular order with where he will be talking about Islamic finance. So,
I have 15 minutes. So, الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده محمد عبد الله صلوات ربنا وسلامه عليه وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Charles and online, I don't understand what the panel session is going to be about. So basically, finance, if you want to define it academically, is a system of creating, circulating, and managing money. But I would like to use the word wealth. Finance is about creating, circulating, and managing wealth. It is as old as humanity. It's as old as humanity. Because as human beings, we have certain basic needs. Needs that we would need by virtue of our being human. Allah refers to this, and a lot of the Mufassirun would mention this. Adam and his wife Hawa, not to allow themselves to be deceived by the shaitan. Allah says in Surah At-Tawbah, from the 117th verse to around 120. Allah told Adam, do not allow shaitan to take you out of Jannah. He said, فَلَا يُخْرِجَنَّكُمَ مِنَ الْجَنَّةِ فَتَشْقَى. Do not allow shaitan to take you from Al-Jannah so that you will not become sorry for yourself. Usually, the Arabic word shaqi comes with misfortune. Now, at times, the English language does not properly encapsulate certain usage of the Arabic language. Shaqi, if I were to translate into Yoruba, everybody will get it. Eleribu. But in this context, Allah is not addressing Adam, because Adam is a prophet, and the believers will not go to hell. So what did Allah mean when he says, do not allow him to take you from Jannah so that you will not be of those who are shaqi? Allah explained, Inna laka alla taju'a fiha wa la ta'ara wa annaka la tadma'u fiha wa la tadha. What we are talking about, that sorry state we are talking about, is that if you allow him, shaitan, to take you out of Al-Jannah, you are going to suffer hunger, and you are going to suffer nakedness. So it's one of the arguments that we say that in Islam, Adam and Hawa were not naked in Al-Jannah. La taju'a fiha. You are taking my time.
BTG 761
+1 minute.
Pilot, please.